Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel, spending a little bit of time with me. I know that everybody's busy and got full schedules and you can't sit around and watch YouTube fishing videos all day. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time you have to watch one of mine here. Guys, today we're going to be talking about what I classify as the definition of the normalization of legalized cheating in bass fishing. And I wanted to do this video because I got a subscriber of mine sent me an article that was in the MLF website this week. And that's the point of this video. I want to talk about that article a little bit and how it relates to normalizing legalized cheating in the sport. Also, guys, before we get started here, just wanted to give everybody a real quick big thank you out there for all the support you've been showing the channel through subscribing and using all the links I put in the description. Just want you to know that me and my family really appreciate that. And if you're one of those people that are doing that, big thank you. Okay. One of my subscribers sent me this article. It was on the MLF website, and it was an article written or interviewed by one of the people that fish the Bass Pro Tour out there that are self-professed, full-time live scopers, and that's all they do. They don't have any other game except live scope. That is their ball game. That's the way they fish. They don't fish any other way except scoping. And when I read through this article, the first thing that really disturbed me was how there was a complete sense of normalization in this particular technology, almost like it was just another different color plastic worm or something out there. It completely disregarded every anti-forward-facing sonar, point that is out there. And I found that extremely disturbing. And we have seen this more and more and more. There are certain media outlets out there that are pushing for this normalization of this technology that is destroying our sport. And I went back through and I read through the rules on both the Bassmaster and the MLF circuit. And guys, there is a list of rules a mile long about things that you can't do in fishing. Half of them which have no point to be there, and half of them that totally kneecap shallow water anglers, for them to try to get any type of advantage over any other type of angler. Those rules, most of them, were put in there after an angler did well, fish in shallow water. One of the rules they put in there was because of me, is that you can't use a chainsaw, or you can't haul extra gas in an approved container in your boat, to extend your mileage, because I did that in several tournaments. Now it's not legal. But anyway, the fact that there's so many rules out there of what you can't do in the tournaments that really have no reason to be there, yet when you look at a rule and you're trying to create a level playing field in the sport, and you're trying to create a sense of normalcy and tradition, that defines any type of sport out there, there's not one rule in there about the limitations or not using forward-facing sonar technology. If you want to spend $25 million to outfit your boat with whatever technology that is out there, you can do it. If you want to transform bass fishing into the fact where you put your boat in the water and you ignore anything that's going out there regarding anything about fishing except staring down at a video screen that tells you where to cast, where the fish are at, what the fish are doing, how the fish are moving. Every bit of information that you're trying to catch a fish is based upon what you're seeing on a screen. There's nothing out there in terms of the traditional, excuse me, dang, allergies here. There's nothing out there in terms of the traditional aspect of fishing where you fish to find fish, where you fish to determine the different retrieves and cadences and colors and lure profiles. Everything that you do, all the information that you have, every single activity that you are participating in the sport of fishing is what you're seeing on a live imaging screen that's on your boat. Yet that's perfectly legal. And if people don't understand how messed up that is on just an inherent level, they're simply just in this information silo that is being perpetuated by a minority of the media out there within the bass fishing public. There is a percentage of the bass fishing public media out there through websites and organizations that refer to forward-facing sonar as no different than any other fishing technique, despite the fact that we've seen a complete and a total 100% domination over it over the past 2 or 3 years. The point of the matter is if something is not done about this soon, and the technology continues to advance, like now we're seeing this titanium, fishing line that actually transmits live images to your lure. There's all types of stuff on the horizon out there. At what point do you say enough is enough? Or do you ever say enough is enough? As long as the electronic companies are subsidizing the tournament organizations, is it never going to be enough? And one of the things that we can't do as an angling public, because make no mistake about it, the majority of the bass anglers in this country do not want this technology. We can never be complacent on it, and you can't ever be accepting of it, and you can't ever normalize this technology, because if you do that, you're going down this dark path of the destruction of the sustainability of our sport for the long term, along with the tradition of it. All that type of stuff goes hand in hand. And one of the problems that I see with the spotlighting group out there, with the pro forward facing sonar, is most of those people out there, they don't have any appreciation or awareness of the tradition and the heritage and the legacy and just the baseline of what fishing is, which is going out there. You go on the water, you don't know what's out there. Everything is a fresh slate when you go on the water. When you pull up to a point, you don't know if there's a bass there until you fish that point. But now we're taking that all away from us. We're taking all of that mystery away. It's like before, like we'll go back to the point deal. Before, when you went bass fishing, you had 2D sonar or you had a flash or whatever. If you pull up to a point, the only way that you knew if there was a fish there is you'd fish it. You go up to it, throw a crankbait around the point. Maybe then you go back through and say, okay, maybe they don't want a crankbait, maybe they want a slow bait. You go back through there and fish a worm on the point. And if you didn't catch a fish, you'd move on to do something else. But now that process is taken away from fishing. Now somebody rolls up on a point and they don't even take a rod out of the rod locker unless they can see fish on their electronics. And at that point, that transforms the sport into something that's it's completely never been before. And when you do that, you take away every aspect of the sport that propelled it to the greatness that we have right now. So the main thing about this, guys, is I just don't want to ever see, we're going to continue doing videos on this. And as long as people continue to try to normalize this technology, there's going to be people like myself that basically, call out the bullshit on it. There's no normalization to be had on this. It's like, that's like normalizing. People say, well, it's like, well, Randy, it's legal and, there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, it's just another tool. That is not true. It's like, if you want to say something is legal, but it's still not right, look back at like some of the chemicals that we used to put, as defoliants and insecticides. Look at DDT. DDT was legal to use forever in the United States, but it was killing all the wildlife and killing eagles until we made it illegal. But at some point it was legal. It's the same with forward-facing sonar. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not cheating. And I'll say it again and again, using forward-facing sonar is legalized cheating. Because when you go out there on the water and you are completely reliant on a piece of electronic technology to tell you where to fish and show you where to fish without any type of knowledge required on your part to understand bass movement and behavior. You're just completely relying on a video screen. That is effectively cheating because it's not fair chase. Fair chase is something when you go out there and you fish and you locate the fish through fishing. It's not having some type of artificial umbilical cord locate the fish for you and then tell you what to throw, everything aligned with that. So I think it's pretty obvious to most people, but it's just like, I just wanted to bring that up after I saw that article. when I read through that, it's like, God dang, we are getting to the point where it's just like they don't see any type of difference between this and just any other type of technique. And as long, that's the only way that bad things gain a foothold in this world, if you don't have people stand up against it. And don't get sucked in, guys. Don't get swayed to think this is just another bass fishing tool and it's a great learning thing, and it makes it's easier to catch fish and you don't have to have as much time on the water. I get people all the time saying, well, I use forward facing sonar because I don't have that much time to fish and it makes it easier. That ain't the point. It's like, that's not the point of fishing. If you think fishing is about accelerating your success without putting in the dirt time and the hard work, you're completely missing the point about what fishing is. Fishing is about the process. It's not about the end result of catching fish. If you are so focused on just catching fish, then you're ignoring 95% about what fishing is, and you're missing out on what 95% about fishing is, and you haven't had somebody correctly teach you about what fishing intrinsically is. That's one of the reasons you guys hear me talk about the Native American Indians a lot. It's like, because they had so much tradition handed down through generations and generations and generations, that there was a respect for tradition throughout their entire culture out there that allowed them to thrive in this particular environment that we have for tens of thousands of years, until the white man came over here and exterminated them from this country. But anyway, guys, just wanted to throw that out there. Like I said, never normalize this technology. It's just a matter of time until something changes on it. It's just like, don't look for it to come from the tournament organizations, because you've heard the whole thing about how greed drives people not to make wise decisions. Don't look for the tournament organizations to do the right thing. I really feel that in order to turn the corner on this thing, the change is going to have to come from the state conservation departments, the adults in the room, when they see the impact that it has on the fisheries. It can come from the public. If the public has an overwhelming opposition to it, that's another way, but don't look for this to be fixed by the tournament organizations. What you're going to see next year is you're going to see some real changes on forward-facing sonar, probably. They're going to say, oh, we're going to eliminate it to just one unit, one forward-facing sonar unit, and one transducer. That's not doing nothing. That's still spotlighting for bass. It's going to, if anything, I anticipate a half measure that basically tries to placate some of the louder voices out there, but in essence, it doesn't do anything. So anyway, guys, don't give up the good fight. Be on the right side of history here. Fight the good fight. Resist going down that dark path. Get on the freaking army that is doing the right thing for the sport. Get on the army that's being the adults in the room that is concerned about the sustainability and the tradition and the heritage of the sport. You're going to get goofed on by people out there that can't comprehend what we're talking about, but that's just part of standing up for things that are right sometimes. So hope you guys are well. We'll talk later.